Good morning and welcome to the deep dive with Keeping Current Matters. It is Monday, April 22nd. My name is Kate Rezebeck, and it's been a minute since I've been here with you all, but I'm honored to be here this morning to talk about what's happening in the housing market, bring you an important topic today, and really dig into the question that we are going to answer today: are smaller homes coming to the market? So very excited to be here with all of you. Thank you, as always, for joining us. For our KCM members who come back week after week, thank you. And if you're new to the deep dive, thanks for being here. Thanks for checking it out. And, always starting off our Mondays with what's happening in the housing market. I think it's super important. So, as always, pop into the chat. Tell us where you are tuning in from. We love seeing everybody come back week after week, and we've got some really good stuff to talk about. Like I said, we're going to be talking about our smaller homes coming to the market. We're going to be going over what's happening, some of the trends that we're seeing, what the data is showing, how builders are responding, and most importantly, some of the questions and the conversations that we want you to be really thinking about having with your clients. The more we can get some good information out there, the more successful we'll be, as we see inventory options come into the spring market. We are in the heat of it right now. So being able to get out there to be the educator, really, really important. So we're going to get started in just a moment. Like I said, the question of the day: are smaller homes coming to the market? And I think this is a really big question for a lot of hopeful buyers. A lot of first-time buyers want to know: are starter homes coming to the market? A lot of people have felt the constraints of affordability over the past couple of years, in particular, prices, rates, all of those things that are putting a little bit of pressure on affordability, or maybe a lot of pressure right now. We've been talking a lot about that lately. Plus, we're seeing people's needs changing. As we start to see needs change in the housing market, the question becomes, are we going to have inventory to fill those needs? So a lot of people don't need the space that they did a couple of years ago. We're going to talk about that today. We want to make sure you have the data, the insights, and the visuals. The visuals here are going to be really key to share with your clients. So we're going to break all of that down for you: what's happening, how builders are responding, and the conversations that you can be having with your clients. Because, it's never been more important to be the educator, to be able to bring what's actually happening in the housing market, the data, to be able to explain it. When you can explain to your clients what's actually happening, you can really impact your business and your clients' lives. And that's what we want to help you do, to be that expert, to be that educator. But it's about you stepping up and stepping into that space to be able to have that conversation and get that information out there. The more you do that, the more success we're going to see. So want to dive right in today, and we'll start by answering this big question: are smaller homes coming to the market? Spoiler alert, yes, builders are building smaller homes. This is a quote from the National Association of Home Builders, and it says, more than a third, or 38% of builders, say they built smaller homes in 2023, and more than a quarter, or 26%, plan to construct even smaller this year. So this is definitely a trend that we're seeing. I'm going to show you some visuals for that today. But it's good news for those looking for smaller homes, those feeling those affordability challenges, looking for those starter homes, looking to downsize. We're definitely seeing that trend. So let's take a look at this quote, also from the National Association of Home Builders. And it's kind of the why. It says it's related to two factors that are linked. First, we're seeing changes in home buyer preferences. And second, housing affordability has worsened in recent years. We're going to start by breaking down some of those changes in home buyer preferences, and then we'll get into the affordability piece. But take a look at this graph right here that our research team put together. This, again, is from data from the National Association of Home Builders. And it says home builders want smaller homes. This is from a study that just came out in March of this year, so very recent. And what they're calling this is a permanent downward trend in the size of homes that people want right now. This goes back to 2003. Over there on the left, you can see that the median square footage that buyers wanted 20 years ago was significantly larger than where we are now. It's been about a 200 square foot shift from 2,200 to 2,000 square feet, roughly. And so, we're seeing this happen because of a lot of different reasons. household formation, generational trends. We mentioned affordability. All of these things are kind of coming together. So let's take a look at one of the first reasons why people are looking for smaller homes. And it's because the top two home buying generations are searching for them. So millennials are looking for starter homes and baby boomers are looking to downsize. I was looking at a study from NAR the other day that said millennials have reclaimed that number one spot as the top home buying generation. The people who are, starting families, looking for that starter home, looking for something smaller than maybe others are looking for. They're the top home buying generation right now. And baby boomers are a close second. So those who are looking to downsize, maybe something a little bit smaller, a little bit easier to take care of. That's the number two home buying generation right now. So with these two generations both looking for homes, we're seeing that demand in the smaller home space. Now, let's take a look at what Builder Online says. It says both groups, for different reasons, do not require homes in excess of 2,500 square feet. Many millennials are moving from either their parents' house or smaller apartments and do not need a large detached home as their first house. And similarly, baby boomers looking to move, maybe empty nesters wanting to downsize from their current homes. So we're definitely seeing a demand in this area. We're definitely, following what people are looking for. Builders are seeing this. And interestingly enough, it's not just, these two generations that are looking for smaller homes. We're seeing a little bit of a change as well in household formation. So let me share this really interesting data with you from the census. And it says that smaller households are increasing. So if you look at the green and the blue lines on this graph, what this shows is that 1 and 2 person households, or maybe single buyers or someone buying with one other person, those are increasing at a much faster rate than some of the larger households, 5, 6, 7 or more people. You can see those lines down at the bottom. But with these kind of trends converging of millennials looking for homes, boomers looking for homes, and then of course smaller households, you definitely see a demand in this area. So I think it's important that we kind of keep our eye on this because it's one of the couple of the reasons why builders are responding in this way. And the other piece that we talk about is affordability. If you haven't gone back and watched David's deep dive from a couple of weeks ago, definitely go ahead and do that. He talked a lot about affordability and how it's at a historic low right now. This is the NAR Affordability Index. And the way that you read this graph is that the higher the bar, the more affordable a home is. And we're seeing, that blue bar over that wrapped up last year, we're seeing that affordability is much tighter right now. We're not seeing what we did and what we've called the unicorn years a couple years ago, where mortgage rates were at historic lows and home prices hadn't risen so much as they have over the past 2 years. We're certainly not seeing the affordability that we had when the housing market crashed and, there were a bunch of foreclosures on the market. Things have shifted and affordability is tighter right now. And so, we're definitely seeing signs that affordability is improving and it's expected to continue improving as home prices moderate over the next few years, and as mortgage rates are expected to come down going forward. We're seeing the signs, we're seeing wages increase, which are good signs for the future of affordability, but we're certainly feeling that pinch right now. And so with the pinch of affordability, with generational trends, shifting a little bit, we definitely see a demand for smaller and potentially more affordable homes. That's kind of shifting what people are looking for right now. And I think if we look at this quote from Veterans United, you've seen us use this in the deep dive a week ago, but this kind of sets the tone for what's one way that we can help our clients understand how to overcome some of these challenges. And it's opting for a smaller, more budget-friendly house. Means you don't have to save as much for a down payment and upfront cost of owning a home. This approach simplifies and speeds up the home buying process, letting you become a homeowner sooner. In fact, many renters are drawn to smaller homes because they're less expensive and can start building equity quickly. So when we start to think about what are some of the ways that we can help in this space, it's helping people understand that, smaller, potentially more affordable home means smaller down payment, It means you could start building that equity sooner. If you didn't see the deep dive last week, that's another really good one to go back and look at, because it starts to talk about the potential of equity that someone could gain over time or potentially lose, if they aren't buying a home. But for someone who really wants to get into that home ownership space, start building equity, a smaller, potentially more affordable home could be the answer. And that's, I think, what a lot of people are looking for. We're seeing that in all the trends in the data. So the good news is that builders are responding. They're reducing the square footage of their homes as one way to keep their costs down and their homes affordable. So, of course, smaller home doesn't cost as much to build, and those costs don't get transferred over to the buyers. Smaller homes, in theory, more affordable. So we're seeing builders watch all of these trends and bring smaller homes to the market. And it's interesting because this wasn't the case just a couple of years ago. And, this quote right here from NAHB also says, after a brief increase during the post-COVID building boom, home size is trending lower and will likely continue to do so as housing affordability remains constrained. So what I want to show you is a really powerful visual that kind of tells this story of why we're seeing some of those new single family homes getting smaller. The good news is builders are building smaller homes. But this graph is really great. Our team put this together and it goes all the way back to 2020. And what it shows in those blue bars over on the left is really during that COVID pandemic time, people were looking for larger homes. So builders started responding and building bigger homes. We're going to talk about that in just a minute. And then that started to trail off. So, things changed over the past couple of years. And if I think back to that time we can all remember in early 2020, where home meant something different to us. The meaning of home ownership really changed as everyone was kind of challenged to stay at home during, shutdowns and all kinds of things that, gosh, really impacted our lives in a huge way. If you were someone who was living in a small apartment in the city, maybe with a couple of roommates, some people moved back in with their families, or they left the city and moved a little further away to have some outdoor space and they could work remotely for a while. In our situation, I think a lot of people can probably relate to this. I remember coming home in March of 2020 and we were going to be at home for a few weeks. But my husband took over kind of the one small home office that we had in our house. And I actually set up shop. Ironically, I'm home today, right in our formal living room that has now been converted into an office. But I was like, I needed some space to take my Zoom calls and, to keep my job going. And right around the corner over here, my kindergartner at the time set up shop as, for his virtual school right at the dining room table. And around the corner from that, my second grader was taking virtual school from the kitchen table. And then all of a sudden we were turning our garage into a playroom where the kids could go out and swing a baseball bat and have some space. And then we rolled a Peloton into this room as well because we couldn't go to the gym and we wanted to work out. And so all of these different things just kind of converged at one time. And, we felt like we needed more space. And I think a lot of people did. And a lot of people bought bigger homes. And so builders responded. That's where you can see those blue bars rising. But then what happened a couple of years ago? People went back to the office. Kids went back to school. People went back to the gym. And that need for bigger homes really shifted. At the same time that happened, homes started to get more expensive. Affordability was challenging. Mortgage rates were rising. And so we saw a different shift of people looking for smaller, potentially more affordable homes, and builders responded. And so you can see the green bars as that size of what people are looking for, what builders are building has changed, because at the end of the day, builders want to build what people will buy. And so we've seen that shift. And this quote from the New York Times says, the downsizing accelerated last year when the interest rate on a 30-year fixed rate mortgage reached a 2-decade high, just shy of 8%. So as we saw the shift in the needs, we also saw the shift from an affordability perspective of people looking for something they couldn't afford what they could before. And you can see in this graph right here that our research team put together as well. This goes back to January of 2018, but there's been this kind of ongoing downward shift in what people are looking for. And it really accelerated right here in 2023 as builders started really responding and building smaller homes last year. That affordability pinch kicked in. So, we're definitely seeing that shift. And like we said, the good news is home builders are responding. And this quote from Creative Planning says, home builders are adapting to the lowest affordability on record by building smaller homes and offering more incentives and price cuts. So builders are able to offer some of those incentives, prices, rates. They can offer upgrades, warranties, all those different things that kind of help on the affordability side. And they're also building in that smaller space. And your ability as an agent to guide your clients through what's available and what's happening in your market right now, to be that educator and maybe open your clients' eyes to some different options, knowing that working with you to understand those options and to navigate those options, the more you can talk about this, the better, because that's going to create inventory options for your clients, today. And it's funny because Jamie and I always joke, she always reminds me as we're talking about new construction, hey, Kate, it's really important to remember that new construction looks a lot different in different markets. It looks very different in Long Island than it does in Texas. And that is very true. There are some markets where there's a lot more new construction than others, or, they're able to offer it in different ways. But, if you have clients who can maybe look outside the city, who can expand their search radius, who can look at different places and really tap into what might be available in the smaller home market that's being built right now, that can make a big difference. Because, we talk a lot about equity and the equity that people stand to gain or to potentially lose. And if someone is ready, willing, and able to buy, and they can step into home ownership and start building that equity, that becomes that huge net worth generator over time. And, with builders crafting smaller homes, that may be one of the ways that helps people really overcome that rental trap, as we call it. I know it's a challenge right now, but it's definitely an option to be talking about and educating on. Because at the end of the day, this quote from John Burns Real Estate says, it's not solving the affordability crisis, but it's creating opportunities for people to be able to afford an entry-level home in an area. And if you get that size down, that automatically will make it a more affordable home. And, that's a great option for people to be looking into, to be considering with your guidance. Because your guidance in this process, your value as an agent, we talk about this so much, is more important than ever. When you can have these conversations with your clients, help them navigate what's out there, really can be a game changer. Something we always say, and I want to remind you of, is, most agents know what's happening. Most agents know this. They can see how it's impacting their local areas, what it means. Good agents can really understand it, but it's the great agents that can explain it. And that's what I challenge you to do, is use some of these visuals, go out, share some visuals with your clients, have those conversations, record those videos, do all those things that really help share the message with the people that you serve in your market. It makes a difference for your clients, makes a difference for your business. And I think that the agents who do that over the next few months, they're going to be the ones who thrive. And that's really the game changer for sure. So as we wrap up today, I want to talk about something that you're going to see our research team looking into. You're going to see coming up in future potentially deep dives. Is kind of the next level of this is, for Gen Z, will I be able to buy a home? We talked a lot about millennials. We talked a lot about boomers today. But there's this younger generation coming in that's looking ahead and saying, gosh, I'd love to own a home someday, maybe like my family owns, something like that, but they're feeling these pressures of prices rising and, the compounding pressures of, student loans and all these things in their lives that they're like, I don't know that I'm ever going to be able to do this. And there are some ways that Gen Z can start thinking about this now and moving in that direction, because yes, the short answer is they will be able to afford a home, they will be able to buy, but we want to help them have every opportunity to do that. And so you're going to see our team looking into this a little bit more, continuing this topic going forward. and bringing the answers for you that are going to help you best serve your clients and your business. So I'm going to pause right here. Thank you so much for being here with me this morning. It's nice to see you all. Thank you for being here for the deep dive. David will be back next week, and we will be going from there. So thank you so much, and have a great Monday.